2013, we caught wind of an opportunity to try growing some new crops for an export market at that time. Kale, collard greens, turnip and mustard greens. And we were just at a point in our business where we thought, hey, some diversification might be useful here. So it came at the right place at the right time. Bit of a challenge because it was basically a marketing window, basically July, August. We can supply this particular customer in the US with everything that we can supply. We wanted to get the most yield in the shortest period of time, so we did that, and we sat down at my mother's kitchen table with some folks from Perennia to devise a system of growing on plastic and just being very, very proactive with the fertility. And we were able to almost triple the average expected yield of the kale and the collards. When we started considering value-added kale, it was literally like an open book, kind of a clean slate, and we say, what can we do? And just sort of looking at brainstorming, we engaged the services of Perennia to do some prototype development with kale powder, actually, and worked very closely with those folks at the Innovation Center there, and that was really fun, and definitely saw the level of professionalism, but it was on a small enough scale that we could get a hands-on look at how things are going, and talk to all the people involved and see they had a lot of passion for our little project and what we were doing.
We purchased that Brookside Abattoir provincial plant in 1985. We could only sell in Nova Scotia because we were provincially inspected. We could not sell outside of Nova Scotia. And as time went on, the bigger players like Sobeys and Superstore, they require federally inspected because of their warehouses. If we were going to continue to grow and be able to sell all the lambs that our producers wanted to produce, we needed to get into those warehouses. One of the main components was the HACCP plan and upgrading to the federal facilities. And at that point, we needed outside help, and so we hired Perennia, and they helped us immensely with the HACCP plan and the upgrading and the checklist that we had to go through. We really didn't know. We didn't have any idea how to do it, and Perennia had that knowledge. Once we got the federal certification, Sobeys agreed to put us in the warehouse. So starting in October, we've been distributing our lamb to all the maritime provinces, and our lamb comes from the three maritime provinces. And so, and that's been going very well. It increased our sales by. It doubled almost, I would say, our sales. There's been new producers that have had the confidence to increase their flock size, and new ones. People have come in having heard about what we were doing and wanted to live in rural Nova Scotia. We're looking for an opportunity to be able to farm in a way that there would be that they could count on having markets.
Shipping here to this federal plant, we know what the price is ahead of time. We know what, roughly what our percentage is. So, within a few dollars, we can have a good estimate on what we're going to get. And the stability of the price throughout the year allows us to sort of plan ahead and plan the, cash flow and things like that, so us to make investments in the farm. So, and have an idea just what we're going to get for returns. Lamb is in demand. With them going federal, they can now basically cross the provincial border and cross the national border if need be. So it sort of opens up a whole market for us, just not here in Nova Scotia. So I think, from that perspective, it looks pretty good for us.
I had read a lot on how to compile raw diets, and it's one thing to cook for your own dog in your own home, but to get into a commercial aspect and be responsible for other people's dogs, I just wanted to make sure that I hit the market with a quality products. First, it was a lot of kind of compiling nutritional data to see which formula of recipes would work the best. And then it was a lot of doing stuff in the pilot plant to actually find out what form my product would take, how to operate freeze-dried, what kind of things could be freeze-dried, what couldn't, how the product actually turns out once it's freeze-dried. So it was a lot of the science aspect was tested at Perennia, and then by the time I actually got my location, I kind of knew exactly what equipment I needed to buy and didn't have to waste a lot of money doing trial and error here at the shop. I do a ground frozen product in pucks. I do a 4-ounce serving. I find it a little bit easier to manage than a half-pound patty that is easy for big dogs, not so easy for little dogs. And I do the same food in frozen form as I do freeze-dried. So it's expensive but convenient. It's good for camping, very small dogs. And I also do all of my freeze-dried treats and vegetables. So you can come in and you pick individual components to compile your diet. For anybody starting up that you need equipment or you need some scientific know-how that you just, it can take years to go get a degree in certain fields. I mean, you kind of have access to pick the brains of people that have all these expertise in different areas, and it saved me a fortune on equipment. I probably would have bought a ton of equipment and then realized, well, this doesn't work.
Got a group of 27 fishermen that work well together and have a common goal, and so the co-op will buy their lobster and then market it on to other buyers wherever they may be. The province hired Perennia to handle the project, so they've set up the logistics and put the project together on how we're going to how we go about doing it. So the first year of the project, the lobster were banded. So each fisherman had a band number, and when the lobster come in, you could look at your tag number and see whose lobster, each fisherman, which lobster the fisherman came from. That enabled us to trace it around the world, so people could go online and make comments and tell us where they found the lobster. We know that our quality is good. We want other people to know that our quality is good. So these tags identified our lobster all the way through the chain. And we found that through some of the buyers that were working with Perennia, we're able to get the feedback that yeah, these North Bay lobster are really great quality. Our fishermen take care of their product, and it's coming from sustainable sources, and so we think that our products are going to be, people are going to be looking for them.
In a manual process, probably we are trying to make like 1,000 samosas, or in terms of numbers of samosas, we'll make 1,000 a day. We are trying to scale up 3 or 4 times our production rates with the help of Perennia. It is absolutely critical to have these resources for a small producer. The small producers always have limitations in resources in purchasing equipments because the scale is not there. They do not make so much money, so buying large pieces of equipment and scaling up is a big challenge for them. So in terms of that, Perennia fills that gap and try to address the specific needs for the small growers or for small food producers.